Hello everyone, this is the Defending the Faith class, and we are looking at the second portion of justification and adoption, specifically the idea of adoption this evening. So for adoption, it is a completely separate thing from justification, but without justification there is no adoption, because as we talked about last time, justification is in fact the gospel. It is the great exchange that takes place when you become a Christian and God now views you as justified in his sight, meaning that Jesus exchanged his righteousness for your unrighteousness. Or as we talked about in the video the other day, he imputes that righteousness onto you, meaning he possessively places it onto you. It's not a passive declaration. It is almost a forceful one, in the sense that he places his righteousness onto you. It is imputed to you. Well, the biggest benefit of that justification is not just our salvation, it's this idea of adoption, which is a very personal aspect of our salvation. When we're talking about adoption, it means just what it sounds, that you are adopted into a new family, and that family is the family of God. When you become a Christian, God literally views you as his own son or daughter, because that's what Jesus is to him, is his only begotten son. And so when this great exchange took place at the cross, and Jesus took your sin and imputed his righteousness onto you, God now views you as he did Jesus. Now, obviously, Jesus ultimately won the victory. He gets to reside with God and us in heaven. He does not forfeit that right, because all enemies are put under his feet in the end. So he does not forfeit that right, but it does become something that we inherit through the gospel. And here's one of the neat things about adoption. It means that we can't boast about this because it's not in and of ourselves, but we get to be co-heirs and co-rulers with Christ in the new heavens and new earth. Not, again, because of anything we did, but because God has chosen to do that. Just as Adam and Eve were co-laborers with God and co-rulers with God in Eden, so we get to do the same thing with Jesus in the new heavens and new earth. So that's one of the most interesting aspects of adoption, is the fact that we get all of the blessings of being Jesus without actually being Jesus. That God has included us as benefactors in his holy economy, and we did nothing to deserve that. It's merely because of that justification that Jesus took our place. He gave us his righteousness, so now God only views us as if he viewed Jesus, and that's perfect, as a son, or for you ladies, as a daughter. So you get to literally become part of the family of God. This idea of adoption, it was not something that was inherent in the Old Testament. People definitely had an idea of being part of God's family, but there was no personal side to it. There was no personal application that was quite the same as what the Apostle Paul gives us when he talks about adoption in the New Testament. I absolutely believe that those people were part of God's family, that there was a personal side to it, but it was not one that was as realized as it is once Jesus wins the victory. Before he did that, it was not as realized. So that's basically the gist of adoption. I know that this is a shorter video, but this is a shorter chapter. So I have a very short quiz for you to take, and you will have your unit quiz on Monday. So hope everybody's doing well. Love and miss you guys, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask.